Today we're going to talk about decimal place value. Yesterday we discussed regular place value, and today we're going to go into decimal place value. As you can see, I have my notebook here. The Thursday problem of the day is at the top. I drew a line and wrote lesson 1, 2 there, and then I have my packet out. So the packet just gives you a little bit more room to write, as well as the notebook if you need any more space. So we're going to start off by reading the question at the top. It says a runner won a 100-meter race with a time of 9 85/100 seconds. How can you use place value to explain this time? Draw a place value chart to show the value of this time. So we're going to do just like we did yesterday, and we're going to draw a place value chart. But this time we're only going to start with the ones place. So you should remember from 4th grade that we have the ones place, and after the ones place there's always a decimal. And then you go into the tenths place and the hundredths place. And all you're doing is lining it up. So this is a 9 in the ones place because it's before the decimal. Then you can bring down the decimal, and then what came after the decimal here? An 8. And then what came after the 8? A 5. So when we're looking at this, we know we have 9 ones, 8 tenths, and 5 hundredths. So now we can use that to write this in expanded form. So there's a couple ways that you can do this. You can do it in decimal form, and we can do this in fraction form. So we're going to do it in both so that you can just help remember. But we're actually not going to write it there. I want us to write it over into our notebook so that we know exactly where to look for it. So again, we're going to write the number 9 85/100. And then we're going to do the expanded form. So if you don't remember what expanded form was from 4th grade, that's when you are, or from yesterday, that's when you are adding. So we're going to break it apart, and we're going to say 9 ones plus 8 tenths plus 5 hundredths. So all we did was take our place value chart and add the extra 0 as needed so that it aligns, and then the addition signs. So this is decimal. Now let's do it fraction. So this 9 is the same as 9 wholes. Now when we are doing it in fraction form, it actually is going to be done in expanded notation. So this would be 9 times 1 whole, because 9 times 1 is 9. Then we're going to do 8 times, and what place value is this in? If you don't remember, look back at your chart. What place value is this 8 in? It's in the tenths place. So I would say 8 tenths. Well, how do we write 1/10 as a fraction? Well, we write 1/10. So 8 tenths and 8 times 1/10 is the same, because 8 times 1/10 would be 8 tenths. Then we can do the next one. So if this first number was a 9 and this first number was an 8, what number do you think I'm going to place here? A 5. And then I'm going to times that by what? What place value is that 5 in? It's in the hundredths. So I'm going to write 1/100. So now I have 9 times 1 plus 8 times 1/10 plus 5 times 100th. So this one is actually going to be the expanded form. And this is going to be the expanded notation. That's also going to be written on the second page. So if you take your packet and you flip it over, you'll see that they did an example for you here as well. And then they even did the word form. So remember, we have it broken out into our place value chart. Now what do you see here that's different from what we just did? Hopefully you noticed the thousandths place. So now in 5th grade, we're going to add on that thousandths place value to our place value chart. So you just did tenths and hundredths, and now we're looking at that thousandths. And if you look at the expanded form, they also did 2 times 1/10, 4 times 1/100th, but now this time, because of this 5 here, they did 5 times 1,000. So they're all corresponding or all matching to each other. They all mean the same thing, just written in different ways. So let's flip it over, and let's talk really quick about equivalent decimals. So equivalent decimals are going to be decimals that are the same. Anytime you hear equivalent, and they love to put it on star, equivalent means same. Think of equivalent as equal. They kind of sound the same, right? Because it's the same. So the question says, what other 2 decimals are equivalent to 1 and 4/10? So if 1 and 4/10 is the same as 1 and 40/100, well, how does that work? Well, if we have 1 and 4/10 and we have 1 and 4/100, or 1 and 4,000, 1 and 400,000, sorry, I will get it right. So if we have, again, 1 and 4/10 and 1 and 400,000 here, how are these the same? I want you to try thinking about that for a second. Well, this picture is really great at showing it. So if we always start off with a whole, and we are breaking that up into tenths, you are taking this whole and you are splitting it up into 10 pieces. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I know it's a little funky, but that's okay. It's just for an example. So we have 10 pieces here. So those are my tenths. So 1 whole is equal to 10 tenths. And this is where those place value discs that were in your packet can come in handy, because you can start using those to add it up if you need to and moving it around. So now they took these tenths, and if you look over here and we count them, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So there are 10 rows going down, but there's also 10 pieces in each one. So how many total pieces are in this square? 100. So if this is 1 piece, that is 1/100th. Just like this 1 piece is 1/10. So if I wanted something equivalent to this tenth, how many hundredths are equivalent to this tenth? How many are the same? It's going to be 10. Because if you look at this tenth right here, how many pieces are in it? 10. They just broke it up, but it's the same. Another way we can look at that is our place value chart. So if we write one out real quick, we have ones, make sure we put our decimal, tenths, hundredths, thousandths. So if we have 1 and 4/10, and I'm looking at 1 and 400,000ths, what's the difference looking at those on top of one another? They just have zeros. They're just placeholders. So when you add a 0 to the end of the number, after the decimal, it actually does not change the value of it. Now, if I were to write 1 and 400ths, does that change the value? Can I add the 0 before the 4 instead of after the 4? No, we cannot, because now you went from 4/10, so you went from 4 of these big long pieces to 400ths. So now we're only looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, these 4 pieces. Are these 4 pieces the same as these 4 pieces? No. So you have to be aware of your place value chart. That's why I keep telling you, write that place value chart, write that place value chart. All right, let's try a couple of questions. So we have 6 times 1. Well, we know 1 is our whole, and we know 6 times 1 is 6, so we can write 6. And then we look over to the next number, and it's going to be a decimal because we have that fraction there. So it's a piece, it's not a whole. So I'm going to put a decimal there, and then I'm going to sorry about that. So then I'm going to look at 6 times 1/10. Well, remember my 10th is my next place value. So in that area, I'm going to put another 6 because that's this number. The first number is the number you write. The second number is the place value. So I have 6 and 6/10 right now, but I'm not done. Now I'm going to write a 3. What place value am I going to write that 3 in? The hundredths. So I can look back at my place value chart, and I know my hundredths come after my tenths. So that's my 3. And then I have my 7, and that's going to go in my thousandths place. I can go back to my place value chart and see thousands comes after hundredths. So I can put a 7 there, and there's your number. Now let's talk about decimals with word form. So we have 4 and 68 hundredths. And in math is a decimal. Anytime you see the word and, I want you to think decimal. So I'm actually going to move this over, and I'm going to place this on our place value chart. So how can I do this here? Aha, there we go. So it says 4 and. So if I look at my chart, just bring my lines down, I'm going to go 4, because that's my ones. 4, that's all it says. Doesn't say 40, doesn't say 14, just says 4. And, so that's my decimal, 68 hundredths. When you see the last word, that's where you want the last number to end. So my last number was this 8, and it's going to go in the hundredths place. So I'm going to go to hundredths, I'm going to write an 8. Well, now I'm going to go back and look at my number. Does it say 608? No, it says 68. So now I need to look and make a 68. I'm going to cover up my ones because I'm only focused right here. So now I made a 68. So now I have 4 and 68 hundredths. So now I can come back and I can write that here. All right. Oh, look, they tried to trick us up some. They added in a thousands and a 10 here. So I'm going to go to the next page on my book here, and I'm going to write another one. So I know I want to go to the thousands place. So I'm going to go thousands. What comes after thousands? Hundreds. What comes after hundreds? Tens. Ones. And before I put the next one, what do I need to draw? A decimal. Then I have tenths. Then I have hundredths. Then I have thousands. Awesome. So I have 9,000. So I'm going to go to the thousands place. I'm going to put a 9. Then I have 40. Well, can I just write 40 in one of these boxes? No, we got to think about place value. This is 9 in the thousands. So this is a 4 in what place value? In the tens. So if we looked, remember we have 1, 10, hundreds, thousands. That's why I put a 9 in the thousands. So here's my ones and my tens. So I'm going to put a 4 in my tens. Then look, here's that little decimal. How many place values after the decimal is that 1? It's just 1. So I'm going to go to my decimal and I'm going to move over 1 and I'm going to put my 1 down. Here's that decimal again, but this time I have 1, 2, 3. So I'm going to go decimal 1, 2, 3 and put my 8. So is my number 94.18? Why can't this be my number? you should know that this can't be your number, because if you don't put anything in the blanks and you just squeeze it all together, the number changed, right? If you just put a 9 and a 4 together, that's 94. But I know for sure I need to have 9,000. So you just go through and you plug in 0. So I'm going to plug a 0 here, I'm going to plug a 0 here, and I'm going to plug a 0 here, and I'm going to make sure to bring down that decimal. So now let's rewrite our number. We have 9040 decimal 108. Does the place value chart help you every single time you're doing place value? Yes. Do I want to see a place value chart for every question? Yes. Can you continue to use? Could I just draw lines all the way down this page and use this one for this whole page? Yes. I might ask you to hold up your notebook and show me your work. So I need you to make sure you are writing down all of your work. All right, now we're going to get together and we're going to do a few more in class. Thank you for watching.